Now, what about the Ramayana? What Maharishi said on this wonderful 1991 talk that he gave to everyone here in Fairfield, he brought out an expression. I believe this was the first time that he gave this expression. And it's from the Ramcharitmanas, which is, it's not the Vedic literature, Ramayana. It was written by Tulsidas in the 15th century. But interestingly enough, Maharishi always quoted from Ramcharitmanas. He never quoted, to my knowledge, from Valmiki Ramayana, which is the actual Vedic literature. When Rajaram started his book on the Ramayana, Maharishi was insistent that he use Valmiki Ramayana because that's Vedic literature. But he always quoted from the Ramcharitmanas, and he felt it had great authority. And what Maharishi said on that day was Ram Brahm Paramarat Rupa. Ram is Brahm, totality, the embodiment of transcendental reality. And this is very significant because modern scholars in particularly, but many scholars throughout the ages feel that in the Ramayana, Ram was just a great warrior, a great human individual, and that all of the things that were attributed to him, all of the great qualities, all the different things, were just what they call epic hyperbole, the exaggerations of an epic poet, something like that. But what I want to look at today is how these expressions really show that Ram was Brahm, that he was totality, that he was the essential fundamental reality underlying all of creation and underlying our own individuality. So this expression is very important, and Maharishi used it often afterwards. There's also another expression I just wanted to mention having to do with Ram. Uh, there was a wonderful lecture that Maharishi gave. We should all listen to it sometime. He gave it right after listening to a Ram Navami Puja. And I'm not sure if we have it in the tape library, but I have it. And Maharishi was describing what he experienced during the Ram Navami Puja. And he said there was this one word that the pundits used over and over and that he really latched onto. And it was describing Ram. And the word was, it's a compound of two words, but komalangam, komalangam. Komala means delicate. Anga means limb or physiology. And komalangam means delicate limbs. And through the ages, that's the way it's always described. But Maharishi took it on a much, much more profound level. All of these different expressions, they have meanings on many different levels. So it's not like the translators are always wrong, but just that we're going to be looking at sort of a deeper level of it. And Komalangam, Maharishi felt, described what he called the very, very delicate blending of Gyan Shakti and Kriya Shakti. Gyan Shakti, the power of knowledge, and Gyan Shakti is that silent value of self-referral consciousness, the infinite, unbounded, silent ocean of consciousness. Kriya Shakti, Kriya means action. Kriya Shakti is the dynamism that's inherent within the silence. And Maharishi talks over and over about the silence and dynamism and how really the silence is dynamism and the dynamism is silent. But when Maharishi sometimes defines Brahman consciousness, he describes it as a blending of the silence and dynamism. And here in this lecture, he talked about it being the most delicate blending, the most delicate synthesis of silence and dynamism. So they didn't disappear into a blended state, but just in a very delicate way, they maintained their silence and dynamism and maintained the oneness and the unity of it all. You've probably heard in other lectures where Maharishi talks about the silence of Patanjali, the silence of Patanjali and the dynamism of Jaimini. In Patanjali, it's called Kaivalya, and it's what the Yoga Sutras describe, that silence. And Jaimini describes the dynamism. And Brahman comes about when neither overshadows the other. When silence doesn't overshadow dynamism, dynamism doesn't overshadow silence. And this is brought out in the Brahma Sutras, the fourth Brahma Sutra, Tat Tu Samanvayat. And that says that is from synthesis. That means Brahman. What is Brahman? Where does Brahman come from? It comes from synthesis. It comes from this Komalangam. It comes from the synthesis of dynamism and silence.